I'm going to slap this into the beginning of every single video for a little while. So it has come to my attention that a lot of people are watching my content here on the anime channel, and I do appreciate that very much. However, it seems that not a lot of you have subscribed. It is completely free to subscribe, and it does help me out a lot. So it would be very appreciated if any of you that are watching any of my content, including what I see is surprisingly the highest watched content on my channel, don't be ashamed. Just hit the subscribe button and help a brother out. You know, I'm struggling as it is over on the gaming channel, and I wanted to try and bring this new project to people, and it would be much appreciated if you just hit that subscribe button, the like button whenever possible, and yeah, because the percentage of you that aren't subscribed that watch the content do help out based on views, but not as much based on, what could help more adding to the subscriber count. I'm sure if people actually did hit that button, we could hit 1K in no time. So, yeah. I do thank you if you could hit that button. And with that said, let's move on into whatever review we're going into. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's showtime, and as the Blazer King with King's Critiques. For one of the last two episodes of this off top of my head review thing that I have been doing for a couple weeks now at least. So we're going to start right off with another one of those anime that had flown under the radar. We were promised a second season, but never got it. Well, we weren't promised it, but we were previewed it, and that seems kind of like a tease to me. Anyway, Taboo Tattoo. That's the first anime we're going to be going over here. I don't remember a lot about this, other than the fact that we got a preview for a second season, but never actually got it. You know, it's one of those shows where the main character gets a power thrust upon him, even though he was completely unaware of it. And in time, he began using it and trusting it and wanting to train it and get to know how it works. So he met some other people who had the same kind of powers, and they were going to help him, but they warned him of the consequences if he did so. And, well, in a short span, he definitely found out what those consequences were. And he started to lose everybody around him. Now, whether that was a permanent loss or temporary, we never got to find that out because it never got a second season like we were previewed to. There were a couple of pretty good fight scenes, though, that I do remember, and the powers were actually pretty cool. Can't remember them specifically, but obviously they were based around tattoos on a person's body. But it's one of those that if the manga went on longer, I'd definitely recommend to go check out the manga if it actually, gave the full story instead of just sweeping it under the carpet, as it were. I really do hate when shows do that, though. But we're going to head into a fan favorite now. One of the few I have on this list, actually. We're going to have Gurren Lagann. Tenga Toppa Gurren Lagann, so it belongs in this category, but it's another one of the more popular anime from Trigger, kind of like Kill la Kill, but this came like way before Kill la Kill. And it has a couple of time skips, so it could be better filling in the gaps, but starts out with our young hero, Simon, who's just pretty much working as a digger because everybody's colonies are underground in this future. Sorry. And as he was digging along, he found a little drill piece. He had no clue what it was for, but while digging and living his normal life, he eventually popped up top and, with his friends just goofing off and wanted to see what the upper world was like. Also could be remembering this slightly wrong, so if so, my apologies. I'm not even going to bother to go through the whole thing because I actually think I am wrong. Point is, though, he helped get his colony out of trouble, and he, got to the upper world and met some friends, got some cool robots, and started kicking some ass. Granted, for a while he was a little bitch, but the latter half of the anime he turned into a great leader. Spoilers. And it's over a decade old. Its spoilers are kind of irrelevant, like a lot of anime I've reviewed before. And obviously there are some big losses he has to go through, including stuff from when he went from an, more grown up teenage adult whatever version to a manly man near the end of the series, when he had some really nice things happen to him and then some not so nice things happen to him. But that's kind of the world you live in when you're an anime protagonist, right? You love some, you lose some. Shit happens. But as far as watching or not watching it goes, time skips being a bit annoying aside, even though they kind of make sense, I guess. Otherwise, you'd just be seeing a bunch of boring shit. But since it's one of the more popular anime of all time, I'd recommend to watch it. I don't see the reason not to, honestly. Sorry, I had to wait for the clock to tick down if you're watching this from the top. Next up, we have Tokyo Ghoul, which is one of my favorite shows, honestly, at least as far as, plot and horror goes. I heard the manga was much better, but this is obviously going based off from the anime. I'll kind of separate one thing from another, because you have your first season, which, if you've seen all the memes, it's about a kid who was going to school and, just wanted to have a nice date, met a really hot girl, and it all went fine and dandy until they decided to take the back alleys to go home, and, well, he found out she wasn't exactly what she said she was. So one chase scene later, the two of them end up in an accident and both getting injured. Her worse than him, so the doctors are like, you know what? Let's put her parts into him to fix what's broken. Normally that's a fine idea, but in this case, when those parts were planted, he turned into the thing she was, and now he craved human flesh. Yeah, you wouldn't want that to happen necessarily, would you? I think the only part of that's actually acceptable is the date with a hot woman. But, where am I going with this? Right. That's not really so bad. He ends up meeting some nice people and getting around some of their passive aggressiveness or aggressive passiveness in some cases. And got to know them, hang out with them, work at their shop, and over time that wasn't so bad. Some drama did arise here and there from the government. Gee, what else I know? Because the government wants to kill these ghouls, and sometimes there are nice ghouls. I mean, he ended up being one. He met some nice ones, as I said. So the first season is pretty much patterned with people trying to kill him or trying to eat him, depending on who was going after him. Though some of those people are also not too bad people in the long run. And that all culminates in him being captured and tortured and losing his goddamn mind. But when he loses his mind, that is actually when the really fun stuff starts. Because then it does go into a straight up, war of sorts. Where after he snaps, he goes off on his own and starts getting into... Well, it's not really getting into trouble, but he started doing his own thing and beating up the ghouls who shouldn't be doing what they're doing, and at least as I remember, that's how it went. Eventually, I ended up with him in a showdown, well, several showdowns throughout the season that pertained to him facing down with his new friends, his old friends, and his new friends' siblings, as well as the government. So he was kind of getting attacked from all sides, and unfortunately, he lost some lives he didn't really care to have lost, but when you're playing the vigilante role, these kind of things do happen sometimes. Now, people say that's a side story, the season I just went over, or the next one I'm about to go over is a side story, even though it seems more canonical than people give it credit for Tokyo Ghoul Resurrection, Revive, probably something like that, but I think it's like RE, kind of like Re-Zero, and anyway. And that season, he's not himself for a while. He's under control, so to speak, of somebody else and working for the people he hates under some sort of, program for ghouls to work for the government. And that works out for a while, and he acts normal and at peace with everybody. Until eventually, he remembers who he was during a few hard fights. And that triggered into something else that ended up costing some people their lives, but again, that's what happens when you're close to the main character. But at least it kind of had a happy ending, I'll give that tidbit. So, after 3 seasons, a lot of mind fucks and, screw jobs and people being eaten and slaughtered and lots of blood. Lots and lots of blood. Even though the manga takes the story on a different path than the anime did, I still like the anime personally. One day I might read the manga, see the difference, but for now, it's one of those shows I'll say if you like horror shows and horror shows with fight scenes, not just psychological mind screwage, which there's a lot of that in this, but yeah. Check it out, watch it, at least season 1, because it's not too long, and it is completely enjoyable in my opinion. Oh no, it wasn't it was Route A. Duh. I apologize for misspeaking. Okay. Next, we're going to move into an anime that I slept on for a while. Like, I don't know how I slept on this for so long, but I'm not really the romance anime type of person typically, but one day I saw it was on, like, Netflix or Hulu or whatever it was, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to finally give in and watch this, see how it is. And that anime is Toradora, which follows the trope of, the beastly, strange-looking guy who ends up drawing a harem of sorts until he finally picks who he wants. Kind of like another anime I'm going to review in in the next episode. It starts out with, a younger classmate of his. At least I remember she was younger. Maybe she's just short. Whatever. Regardless, nothing weird as far as I know. Who ended up, jumping into his house and attacking him. And that's what triggered their weird little friendship over time. But after, enduring a lot of trials and tribulations between her trying to help him and help him get the girl he wanted. This I know that part sounds kind of familiar to a shitty anime I reviewed in the last episode. But unlike that, nobody gets fucked in this. Well, aside maybe him who gets kicked a lot. Sorry, I'm losing track of my mind. And while she was trying to help him get to the girl that he wanted, because she was the main smaller girl's friend, in time things kind of changed for the two of them, how neither of them saw coming. You know, his feelings for the other girl started to wean away, and the smaller girl's feelings for him started to grow, even though she didn't want to admit, like the typical tsundere she is. So the last like 5 episodes are them dealing with that, while the third girl who got introduced, who also kind of fell for him, but got disappointed when she realized the other girl was, in love with him. But yeah, it's that type of slice of life romance, lots of comedy, some feelings and bullshit thrown in, but like I said, I slept out for a while and I actually really enjoyed it when I did watch it, so like I did, I'd say give it a shot, watch a couple episodes, see how you like it, and always worth a try, as I always say. Like I've said with a lot of these anime. Sorry, I always need a little breather. Anyway, next up we have Trigun, which is another old school anime, which a lot of people should honestly know by this point. If you don't, where the hell have you been? I don't remember a lot about it though, because I watched it like when I was a kid, probably near 20 years ago. That's how old the damn thing is. It's about a dude named Vash who just, travels across whatever planet they're on and helps people, sometimes for his own gain, sometimes just because he can. I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but I feel like I've missed a lot of anime that I have seen in this list, and if I do find out what those are, I'll probably throw them into a mini video. But anyway. Yeah, Vash is a badass. A lot of great shootout scenes and fight scenes, and he meets a couple of friends along the way, like a dude who has a giant cross gun thing that's pretty badass, and some kind of female character, because back in the 90s and early 2000s, you always needed that male-female dynamic more than usual. Hell, within the past 15 or so years, it's been a lot of other mechanics that are quite commonplace. I actually don't have a lot to say about this one. That's all I really had to say, because, like I said, been at least 15, 20 years, probably something like that, since I've seen it. But it's one of those old school anime that everyone talks about and love to the level of Cowboy Bebop almost. Still not an anime I've seen yet, but I watched the movie and the finale, so I imagine that's good enough for now. One day, maybe, but for now, the review on Trigun is it's that level of good shit that everyone likes that I've heard. So go watch it, check it out. I think it's only like 50-ish episodes. I say only. Maybe it's 20 something. I don't know. I could look, but it's worth watching a few episodes, regardless of how long it is overall. Speaking of how long it is overall, let's move right into the next one of Trinity 7, which I don't remember a lot about this show. I remember it's about a dude going to an academy to learn magic prowess, At least I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And everybody's given a grimoire who that ends up giving them their powers. And his was, well, kind of a unique power. It dispelled all magic. And the funny part about this one is this is a harem ecchi type of thing, so wouldn't you know it, everyone's clothing is made of magic. So whenever he uses his powers, all the girls around, and well, you'd think this is your typical ecchi comedy show. That's only half right, because there is a more like dark subplot in there that honestly could earn it a second season if they ever wanted to give it. Or was there a second season? I don't think there was a second season yet. But yeah, along the way it was basically just your typical, like Rosario Vampire. You know, dude gets into a silly situation with the main characters after he meets them. And along the way, there's a couple of not so serious fights that go on that end up to be just an awkward use of his powers after he helps the girls out in beating whatever that bad thing is, and they end up being naked at the end and being like, what the hell? But obviously the more serious plot happens later on in the series where one of the characters has someone from their past drop back in and aim for the dude, as he is actually an important plot point that could be used in the future if they do give it a second season. As I said, there was an OVA, but that was more on the comedic ecchi end than anything serious, as I recall. But yeah, if you're into, you know, if you're into this kind of show with burst effects like Food Wars, or your typical harem like Rosario Vampire, or even magic fight scenes like a lot of anime I've reviewed in these past few episodes, I'd watch a little bit of it, see how it is. You know, it's one of my personal favorites, even though I don't remember a ton of it. But I do remember loving it. And when I saw the fact there was an OVI, I was like, ooh, I have to watch this. But let's waste no time at all and move into the next one, which is going to be... I'm not even going to bother with the Japanese name. It begins with a U, I promise. But it's In Search of the Lost Future. This anime, I have a hell of a time trying to remember the name of, and I intend on going back to rewatch it. So take everything about what I'm about to say, like, with a grain of salt, because I don't remember a lot about it. Oh, wait, no. Ha! I actually skipped myself. Well, how do I keep it? You know what? Fuck it. I'm actually going to switch the timestamps because I fucked it up. I'm just going to keep talking about In Search of the Lost Future since yeah. I'll tell you what I do remember about it, though. You know, it starts with a group of kids in high school gathering in their club room, but one of them notices something out of the ordinary. A girl's seemingly unconscious body underneath the staircase to the side. And while anybody else would normally try to ask somebody what was going on, pretty sure that led to them just trying to find out personally who she is. And well, how well do you think that went? Because the girl ended up having amnesia, again, as I recall. So that boils down to them trying to find out who she is and giving her, you know, something new to wear to fit in around there. And over time, it ends up being one of those time travel anime again, as I recall. Maybe not like direct time travel, but like they do things that affect the future because she's from the future and they're in the past or something like that. I remember it being a really good show, though. Like, it kept my interest for a while, and I know based on my basic ass bitch description of how it is, it's kind of confusing, but it do be how it do. And now I'm gonna get to the last show that I meant to just now do the review of, the first season of Tsugumomo. Now I know when you hear that show name, you're probably like, "What the hell is that?" It's not as weird as it sounds, probably. So it's about a boy who, again, goes to school and lives his life. However, he also has to deal with the spirit from a creature living in his towel. Not a creature, but a spirit that can transform into a towel. Or whatever the hell, a scarf or something. And it's one of those things that kind of has a bunch of weird subtext, like Yu Yu Hakusho, where the enemies are based off from this type of energy, and this kid and his spirit towel, whatever. She's kind of cute though. It attracts the enemy, and they need to help stop it, and it's drawn on the sadness of other people, and there was a huge bunch of plot points to it that I don't remember very clearly. When I watch the second season, maybe I'll be able to be refilled in on the plot points, but I do apologize since I don't remember it that clearly. However, it's one of those shows that I'll say, check it out. I'm not going to promise you'll love it, but it's not that bad once you get a little more involved into it. So, that'll be the end of this one. If you enjoyed, I would be much appreciated to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already to this and the gaming channel. There are not as many people watching the videos on either channel that are subscribed already, so do not forget to hit that like button because it does help out a lot, especially with the algorithm and all that nonsense. Also, don't forget to like, Facebook, follow Twitter, and Twitch because I stream gaming stuff every single day, and with enough people around, I might start up on the YouTube or the anime side thing over there using Amazon Prime. Till next time, it's been the Blazer King with King's Critiques, signing out. Ta-ta for now. Peace.